What's up, guys? This is Chronogression. Welcome to a brand new episode of my FIFA 14 Team of the Week predictions. Welcome to a brand new episode. And today we're going to be predicting the Team of the Week number 29, which should be released on, I believe it's going to be the 2nd of April. First Team of the Week in April, and it's not going to be probably the best one compared to some of the previous weeks. Some of the previous weeks, we've had some fantastic Team of the Week cards. We've had multiple third inform cards. I believe third inform Suarez maybe last week. I'm not too sure if Messi got one. I can't remember actually off the top of my head, but we've had a number of very, very good cards. We've also had a number of man of the match cards. Obviously, you can see there, we had an inform Iniesta, inform Yaya Toure, inform Oscar, inform third inform Luis Suarez, man of the match Robin van Persie. So everything's been pretty decent in terms of Team of the Week wise and pack wise, but it's slowly decreasing a bit. This week's Team of the Week wasn't as strong, but we still got some fairly decent players in it. So let's get straight into this week's Team of the Week, and we're going to start off with on the bench here. And we're going to have a goalkeeper in the Championship under the name of Bogdan. Plays for Bolton and obviously plays in goal. And Bolton went out and played Wigan on, I believe it was a Saturday, and ended up drawing that game 1-1. He picking up a penalty save and around 6 saves. Fairly solid performance by him. We may also see a gold goalkeeper on the bench. There's two very, very solid keepers who could make, one could get in the starting 11, one could get on the bench. So we'll talk to that a bit later. But moving on to the next player, got a player who's already picked up an inform card as a bronze. So he will be almost certainly going up to a silver. James Tavernier plays for Rotherham United. I believe he is on loan from Newcastle. And this would be his, I believe, his second inform card. And that would probably definitely go to a silver, probably around 70-odd rated. Not too sure how EA do that, but I know they'll definitely put him up to a silver in form. Moving on to the next player, got a player called J. Rodriguez, the Southampton player. Plays out on the left, as you can see, he's got an upgraded card as well. And played out on the left-hand side in Southampton's 4-0 win over Newcastle. He picked up 2 goals, fairly very solid performance altogether, and he's been performing very well. And I'm surprised he hasn't picked up an inform card yet. He could possibly pick one up this weekend, well, this week's Team of the Week, so that should be fairly interesting card. Looks like a fairly solid left mid card. Probably would be better in the cam position, but you can only get so much you want. Moving on to the next player, we have a goal player on the bench. That is a player called Zhirihov. I'm not too sure. Currently plays for actually FC Krasnodar. I'm not too sure if he actually transferred or went on loan from Zenit, but he would be as a FC Krasnodar player. Go to an 80 rated discard price player, but picked up 2 goals in his team's 3-1 win over Cuban Krasnodar. I'm not too sure if that is actually a rivalry, but still a fairly solid performance by that centre mid there. Moving on to the next player, got a player again who's going to pick up his second inform card and probably get upgraded potentially to a gold, and that is Zuzi. Plays for Sporting KC. They went out and played Colorado Rapids. This guy picked up a goal and 2 assists, man of the match and player of the week award for the MLS in his team's 3-2 win. He would be, however, out on the left-hand side. So that'll be a gold inform card out on the left-hand side. Probably not the best position for him. Moving on to the next player, got a player, Saudi Arabia player, a guy called El Shamali. I'm not too sure how you actually pronounce this guy's name. Plays up front, 73 rated player, so probably one of the highest Saudi players. And this guy actually went out and picked up 4 goals in his team's 6-0 victory. And he probably almost looks certain to get an inform card. Looks like a fairly solid card as well. Maybe if he had 4-star skill moves, he would be a lot better. Moving on to the final player of this week's Team of the Week subs bench, we're going to have a player called SILVIO, the Brazilian player, and currently plays, I believe, in the Austrian Bundesliga for Wolfsbergen. And this guy picked up a hat-trick in his team's 4-0 victory. Just like looks like a fairly cheap, solid silver Brazilian card. But let's move on to the main body of this week's Team of the Week, the starting 11. We're going to be playing the traditional 3-4-1-2 formation, as always, with the Team of the Week prediction. And we're going to start with in goal. Like I previously mentioned, there's 2 options, goalkeepers, who could be in this week's Team of the Week. First player we're going to have here, the player I went for, was a player called Consigli. Plays at Atalanta in the Serie A, and this guy made around 10 saves plus a clean sheet and man of the match in his 2-0 2-0 win over BOGDAN, I think it is, or something like that. There's also got a player called Ochoa, I think it is, plays in the French League 1 for Ajaccio, I think it is. They went out and played Toulouse, and the game ended up finishing 2-2. He picked up a number of fairly decent saves as well as a penalty save, so both of these keepers could be potentially in this week's Team of the Week. But moving on to the defence here, first player going to have here out on the right hand side is going to be a player called Rojo. Plays in the Liga Portuguesa for Sporting CP, Lisbon, whatever you want to call it. Picked up a goal in his team's 1-0 win, clicking up the clean sheet as well, so fairly solid performance. And he's actually an okay centre-back. Inform card, that should be pretty nice. Moving on to another centre-back, we're going to have Naldo, guys. And if you guys have not seen this guy's goal on the weekend, go and look it out. He's been known for his long shots, but hasn't really done one for lately, until he just scores an absolute screamer for Wolfsburg. I think it was against Frankfurt in picking up the goal man of the match award in his team's 2-1 win. Very good going guy indeed, guys. Go and definitely check that out. Moving on to the final player in the defence, we've got another Bundesliga player at the back, and it's going to be a player called Bungert. Plays for Mainz, I think it is, and he picked up a goal and a clean sheet. That I was finding extremely difficult to pick up another spot for the defence. Also, I believe it was, I'm not too sure, I think it's TOTW who went out and actually played Sevilla, ended up winning 1-0. I think the defence throughout that whole game was very solid. Obviously, Sevilla beat Real Madrid midweek, so we could possibly see a play from Central Vigo there. But moving on to the midfield, and this is where it gets slightly interesting. We've got some better cards, more interesting cards. We can start off with it out on the right-hand side, and this is a kind of a bit of a long shot in terms of players. I was kind of looking for positions, wasn't too sure. You've got Cali on the Napoli winger. He obviously there's quite a few midweek games across the leagues, and he had a very good performance midweek and picked up a goal in Napoli's 2-0 win over Juventus. But I decided to go for this player here, Gareth Bale, picking up his second. Oh, that's awkward. Gareth Bale picking up his second in form card. That would be. It would be a right wing. Real Madrid went out and played Rayo Vallecano, and this guy picked up, I believe it was 2 goals and an assist and the man of the match award in the 5-0 victory out on that right wing. Sorry. Didn't play too well in midweek, however, so potentially we could see him, but again, I said that's going to be a long shot. EA always like putting in an expensive, higher rated card, and that could be the potential one we could see on the team. Also, he scored a fairly decent run, basically running from his own penalty box, and no one wanted to tackle him. Moving on to the midfield here, first we're going to have here is a player called Jonathan de Guzman, plays for Swansea in the middle, actually played right mid in this week's game against Norwich, picking up 2 goals and man of the match award in Swansea's 3-0 win. Routledge also doing a very good performance out on the left-hand side. Moving on to another centre-back, we're going to have, I believe it's going to be Kaka. He picked up, I believe it was 2 goals. This would be a second in form card, and picking up 2 goals and man of the match in his team's 3-0 win over Shivu. AC Milan, or Milan, kind of an unpredictable team. You never know what you're going to get out of them. Sometimes Balotelli's amazing, sometimes he's rubbish. But always Kaka, he's always seemed to be doing outstandingly well for Milan, and it's nice to see him do quite well. He's always been a very good player, and it's nice to be slowly getting back into regular football, and very nice player to see. Moving out to the left-hand side, we're going to have Marco Reus, probably one of the main mans who's probably definitely going to get an inform card, picking up a hat-trick in Dortmund's 3-2 win over, I believe it was Stuttgart there. This would be a second inform card out on the left again, however, guys, which isn't too bad in the sense that he would be amazing as a striker or something, but still, those stats getting even higher, that would be an absolute ridiculous card and go for an absolute fortune. So he'd probably be the main man and probably 100% get an inform card. Moving on to the attack force here. First we're going to have here is a player called Douglas Costa. Plays for Shakhtar in the Ukraine League. Picked up, I believe it was, I think it was 1 goal and 2 assists in his team's 4-2 win. I think that was off the top of my head. Looks like a fairly decent card, and that inform card would probably go for quite cheap and looks fairly solid. So that could be a fairly decent discard price inform card. Moving on to the strike force. First we're going to have here is going to be Pizarro, the Bayern Munich striker. Bayern actually picking up a draw this weekend. I believe they went out and played Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim being kind of the, should I say, the Liverpool of the Bundesliga. Mainly, they don't have the strongest defensive record, but their goal-scoring record is fairly solid indeed. And they mainly try and outscore the team by loads, but don't really go for the clean sheet. But Pizarro picking up 2 goals and an assist in that draw, and picking up the Man of the Match award in the 3-3 draw. Fairly solid performance by the Peruvian player there. And moving on to the final player of this week's team, we've got another South American player, and that's going to be a 5-star skiller under the name of Moreno. Colombian player, plays, I believe, in the Chilean league for Millonarios, I think it is. And his team went out and played a team, not too sure of the top of my head, but ended up winning 4-0. He picking up a hat-trick there. Very good player indeed. Cheap inform card as well for a 5-star skiller, so that'd be a nice card to get nevertheless. Moving on to this screen here, where you can see all the cards in their in-form versions, all their cards updated in terms of overall rating. None of the in-game stats or the stats you see on the card have been upgraded, so don't take any of those into account. But obviously, we've got a fairly decent silver bench, should I say. BOGDAN, not too bad. TAVERNIER, maybe fairly solid. I don't know, low league English teams. J. Rodriguez, fairly solid. Maybe the Saudi player. And we've also got a second in form of Zuzi. Probably not the best out on that left wing, but you never know. Consigli, fairly cheap in form. Serie A keeper. Rojo and Naldor, fairly solid defensive players there, as well as Bernget for a silver inform Bundesliga team. Bale, not too sure if he's going to pick up an inform card, guys. If you've got any suggestions, put that in the comments. Guzman, out on the right side, probably not the strongest, probably better in the centre mid. Kaká, Costa and Royce, probably some solid players. Kaká and Royce probably will go for quite a bit. Royce exceptionally a lot. Douglas Costa, sorry, not as much. Moreno, Pizarro and Costa probably going for a bit, the scar price, maybe a bit more, just because they're fairly solid cards. Pizarro may go for a bit cheaper, but he could be a fairly solid card. His pace is probably his own letdown. The rest of it looks fairly golden. But guys, this is coming towards the end of the episode. If I missed any players, remember to put that in the comments. Put the reasons why you think these players should be in this week's Team of the Week. And remember to hit that like button. Also remember to subscribe. Stay tuned to this series and any other series on my channel. Be sure to go and check that out, guys. This has been Grush. Till next time, adios.